All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to SBL 10, coming at you week 2, game 3 here between team NANI and Kylie's Playground Pals. I'm AJ0, joined here with rookie caster Hibbs to bring you this action. Hibbs, how you
Hi
feeling?
guys. I'm feeling really good. Excited to be here and cast this awesome game.
Yeah, I am super excited. This is going to be a palate cleanser after the first two games we watched because we have had some low-level gameplay to start the night out, and I have high hopes for both of these teams to bring us something a little more exciting.
Yeah, there's no denying that the first couple of games, not all that competitive between some of the teams. First game especially, not great. Uh, but maybe it's a couple high level players in this game. 1-0 teams. Maybe this one will live up to be a little bit better.
Yeah, there should be some exciting matchups in this game. In particular, the mid lane. I am super stoked to watch here between Renai Circulation since they're Beyblade. Two guys who looked really good last week. And, these guys could be in the running to be the best mid laner in the league, which I think is going to be a big storyline all split.
Yeah, definitely a little bit of an absence in great mid laners now that Thrifty Senpai is out of the scene. I know everyone seems to call him, the king of mid lane or former king of mid lane. Towards the end of last season, it looked a little bit like Game of Thrones, where he was like the old king, kind of drunk on the job a little bit. Uh, but now that he's gone away, there's just mass chaos in the mid lane. It's anyone's ball game. Two contenders in this game right now, looking to make a name for themselves.
Yeah, and it feels like the storyline for years was which mid laner is going to step up and be the guy to take that throne from Thrifty. And no matter what kind of highly touted rookies we'd bring in or which guys make these huge gains in solo queue, when it came to the SBL, no one could ever grab that from Thrifty. So finally, we did what had to be done. We just took Thrifty out against his will. We said, all right, here's 4 or 5 mid laners. Any of you could be the best. One of you has to do it by process of elimination. Go. Good luck.
Yeah, maybe we let one go after each week. Kick one off the island, as it were.
Mid
The
lane
the mid.
survivor.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, sorry about the delay, guys. I think we got readies from these teams, and then somebody ran into a bathroom break. Normal SBL stuff. But I think we're just about ready to go here. Keyword think.
Being readies from everybody should be any second. We got
So I guess just a quick recap on how we got here. So these teams, once again, this is our matchup between the two 1-0 teams we get this week. And we don't have time for that. We're in the draft. So once again, we've got Team Nani on the left playing blue team. I am not going to once call that team by their full team name. I
No, I did some practice pronouncing it beforehand, and fuck that, I just like couldn't really get it. So Nani, it is.
Yeah, people don't realize that if you haven't casted, remembering team names is one of the most difficult parts of being an SBL caster. It normally takes you like 3-4 weeks to really get these team names all down. So you're not just like randomly calling people the wrong team on stream. And then you give me a fucking team name that I have to practice pronouncing on top of that. Like, uncalled for, guys. Unfucking called for. So, first two bans here, not really a surprise. We see Sinister Beyblade losing his Katarina. He's never going to play that. And Hook Recess losing his Thresh. He's probably not going to play that
No
often.
cure for fools.
Yeah,
As
two perennial one tricks of the league. Yasuo though, I know Dario Chapman, I think, has been practicing it a bit in the last week. It's kind of interesting to see that just go away. They don't want to deal with it.
Lame.
Yeah, and then Rakan going to be the second banned by Kylie's Playground Pals. Hook Resets was really good on that last week. 01-14, doing exactly what you want. And obviously, if you've been paying attention to the World Championships, like I imagine a lot of you are, that guy is beautiful and powerful. And Amumu, there we go. Take that shit away from Scotch and Hot. Dirty, dirty
You
Amumu
used
one trick in the jungle. with Echo rounding things out. So some very smart bans by both of these teams. Nothing I think that would throw either of us for a loop. The big thing for me going into this first pick phase is Dario Chapman has a lot of picks open. Will he have the balls to blind pick a top laner this week?
No. Maybe. I don't know.
Prediction.
But I don't think he I think he prioritizes the counter pick over getting some of his favorites. He definitely has a few that he loves, like the Mordekaiser or the Darius.
Yeah, the thing that's really exciting for me about this KPP team is that even there's so many champs that have to be banned against this team, where we've seen Dario in the past, drawn 4 or 5 bans a game. You cannot put 4 or 5 bans on him on this team. So even if he does wait to the second rotation, use the counter pick, he should be able to get something pretty powerful. And so it's going to be Janna and Xayah locked in by KPP here. Gabe O'Neill playing Janna for the second straight week.
Yeah, Xayah, not the most proactive bot lane, but that lane isn't the proactive one on the team. Looks like they're just going to play defensive, and if anyone walks up, Xayah should be able to mess him up, but they're not looking to make any plays down there.
Yeah, and I really like that pick because bot lane is where I'm honestly scared shitless for KPP. The Mighty Wolf and Hook resets absolutely have the potential just to body anybody in the 2v2, and this is probably one of the weaker bot lanes in the league. So good call to have a lot of disengage tools in their lane to try and survive. As we see Wolf picking himself up Tristana, and it's going to be Renai on the Orianna, so nothing too crazy here. Actually, no, whoa. Vel'Koz was open.
Vel'Koz was open.
They picked something else.
I think they value this Orianna Jarvan combo. I think with a really good engage, I imagine the Jarvan's on Devout Milk. They have the seeds of a really good team fighting composition, so
it's a ruse, man. He's trying to throw people off his trail so we can bust the Vel'Koz out in a big playoff game. Don't fall for it. Put this in your scouting notes, teams. That guy can play Vel'Koz. All right, so first pick phase is going to be closed out here with Maokai. That is most likely going to be in the jungle. That's, as far as I'm aware, one of the only 2 junglers that Scotch can play.
Yeah. That's it. That's a Scotch pick, definitely.
Yeah, which was something that was actually banned against him last week, I believe. Yeah, it was banned against him last week.
Yep, he had practiced it a bunch leading up to the week, but Amumu, this team chose to ban Amumu as one of Scotch's all-time jungle picks.
Yeah, I think most people that are in the know think that the Amumu is going to be Scotch's go-to every week that is open, and Maokai is kind of his number 2. So I think this was a more logical way to attack that pool. So bans winding down here. We got Irelia being taken away from Wind, Braum being taken away from Hook Reset, and then Fizz and Ari being taken away from Beyblade.
The pinch is on for Sinister Beyblade. He still has his Syndra pickup. Last week he played Xerath after experiencing kind of a major champion pool pinch. I don't think Xerath is safe into Jarvan.
No, I would like to see the Syndra here. I don't think he's going to lock that Vygar. I'm wrong. All right. We got
that's not
Vygar
bad.
Into Orianna here.
This is definitely a patch 7.19 team here on the red side. Janna, even though she's been hot fixed recently, was major jump in win rate from already having a good win rate. Vygar, I think, also experienced some changes recently that made him kind of a go-to pick. So we'll see if these kind of new picks coming out are any good in the SBL.
Yeah, and this works really, really well for KPP because they managed to get counter picks for both of their solo lanes with the way this draft played out, which is something that their solo laners are too skilled to have their pick in both the matchups. And Madcow has his entire pool to work with, sans that Yasuo.
Yeah. Probably going up against Cho'Gath. Could really play most things. Kayn.
Oh man, this is
Okay.
disgusting. So let me tell you guys about Madcow's Kayn. I did this LAN tournament a few weekends back, okay? We had the SBL retiree team with me, 30, Think Twice playing top lane. Those of you guys who don't know Think Twice, he's been a team owner for a long time. He was kind of like Sworded Mace like 3 years ago in terms of play style, and he hasn't played the game in 3 years. So in the finals, we're like, hey man, just try not to feed this Mad Cow guy. So, Mad Cow picks Kane, and 3 of the people on my team, we literally didn't know what Kane does. So you know what happens? There's a 15-minute flame horizon? Not fun. And who else is not going to have fun is On the Wind, who might make it past the 15 minutes, but I don't think he's going to be in for a good time here.
I don't know what the choice is putting On the Wind on Cho'Gath. On the Wind has like a few tank picks that he can play, but I don't think I've ever seen this guy play Cho'Gath. Normally he's that like Echo or Irelia that turned out to be banned, but
yeah, we normally see him playing champs with a bit more mobility, and that's always a big part of On the Wind's play style. Is he's really good at like the guerrilla warfare style of tank, and that's not what Cho'Gath's gonna be about.
He hides and then pops out when you least expect him. Creating a numbers advantage on the map is what he likes to do. He's never been the best laner, and that's Dario Chapman's best part of his game is the laning phase. So I think top lane looks prone to having a really tough lane for On the Wind.
Yeah, and last week Mad Cow, he was a bit slow on the start. It wasn't quite the game I expected to see him have when he was playing Nar last week. Under a lot of jungle pressure up against Master Splinter. I think we're gonna see a bit more normal of a Mad Cow this game. He's typically always been best on those kind of juggernaut champs, and Cho'Gath should have a lot of opportunity to free farm in that lane. As the Kayn, not as the Cho'Gath.
Okay, yeah. Cho'Gath is the free farm for the Kayn, maybe.
And the other big thing is the jungles shouldn't be hugely impactful in this lane. Obviously, Devout Milk, Scotch are not going to be 2 of the strongest junglers in the league by, I think, anyone's assumptions.
Both are solid, but not playmakers in their own right.
Yeah, as long as you respect them at a basic level, which obviously, we're talking about Devout Milk on a Jarvan here. Jarvan can make a lot of plays up into that top lane. So as long as Mad Cow does, the basics of warding, you have a lot of large windows to work through. And I guess we're going to see if On the Wind maybe has some new tricks up his sleeve.
Yeah, I think this game in true SBL fashion, each team is going to have a winning lane, and by a lot. I think top lane for the Playground Pals, I think they're called,
Yes.
it definitely favors this Kayn. But bot lane, Janna isn't great into Zyra, can get poked out kind of easily, and with the skill in the bot lane of Nani, I think that lane should win for them. So depending on who gets more fed, who's more impactful in the mid to late game fights, that should decide this game. I don't see anyone dying in mid, but we've seen my wing die to Phoenix Blaze, and so anything can really happen.
Yeah, I am super, super worried for Condemned Resets and Gabe O'Neill in this game. I'm more all in on Wolf and Hook Resets than you are, I think. Because to me, the biggest thing about this Tristana Zyra lane is it's super, super easy to execute. You will basically AFK push that lane into the enemy turret, where you have a bunch of opportunities about how you want to play that lane out. And they're only up against a Maokai, played by Scotchanaut. So it's going to be super easy to avoid ganks. I expect to see really unheard of levels of pressure coming out of this Nani bot lane.
Yeah, Zaya's a short range ADC as well. Really bad into Zyra. Gonna burn through those Janna shields pretty quickly, so...
Yeah, Hook Resets, he's a monster on Zyra. He was playing it a lot as last season winded on. I would say this is, to me, probably his second best hero after the Thresh.
Yeah, last season he was like a force on Zyra. He was incredible. So maybe focusing 2 bans into him. I wouldn't think that's the best strategy. Both his Thresh and Rakan are very well practiced, but Zyra is way harder to play against if your bot lane isn't up on the same level. And as Hook resets into Mighty Wolf.
Yeah, they chose to ban out that Braum, and that must have been a composition decision, but I don't really understand it. I don't think the Braum is the kind of pick that would have killed this comp for KPP. And as a bot lane player, Braum's just one of those heroes you're happy to see in the other lane. Because you know Braum's not going to just, like, accidentally make a huge game-changing play on you.
Yeah, definitely. You're not feeling the pressure unless that jungler shows up when Braum's in the game. Levels 1 through 5 on Braum. Not the most daunting, but Zyra, that's one of the strongest parts of her game, right up till level 6. She can practically solo out an 80 carry early in the game, so. I know you're a fan of level 1, so if you think we're seeing anything here.
I'm hoping so.
No, it's not happening, but
this
is where they're just gonna stare at each other across the river.
Especially after last game where we saw a gigantic game-altering level 1, I think teams tend to be pretty scared of it.
Yeah, just spread out and make sure no one does anything stupid right away. Renai Circulation has a little bit of an advantage in the mid lane, taking Ignite. I don't know if teleport on the Vigar is correct. Maybe you teleport back to lane to farm faster.
Yeah, maybe he's expecting to be under a bit of pressure there. I don't think either of us caught that teleport until just now because of the wonderful spectator client bug cutting off red team summoner spells. But definitely want to keep an eye on that going forward in this game. Otherwise, nothing too crazy about these starts. A lot of pretty standard items across the board. Double Doran's Blades from the 80 carries. I guess maybe Condemn resets could have considered one of the defensive starts. If he was as scared of Wolf and Hook resets as worse as scared for him.
Yeah, I would say that that's probably the correct play, is to go with that Doran's Shield. It's really good into Zyra because I think it procs on plants, which don't do a whole lot of damage. But maybe he has a little more confidence in his trading ability, of course, than we do.
Yeah, we'll find out. Maybe he just doesn't know. As we already see Dario Chopman all over on the way to the side. Oh, this is bad. He's gonna take a lot of damage here.
A little rough.
Whew. This health pot's gonna be going down fast. As in the bot lane, actually, Hook resets is the one that's taking all the damage in the early trades down here. I mean, he does have 3 health potions, but
yeah, I think he went a little early there.
He's coming for the level 2 gank in the top lane though. Dario Chopman's very pushed up, but he's gonna dodge the knockup. A flash auto attack for the red buff coming out of Devout Milk, and they're going for this chase onto the man count. A level up on the way just gets him the knockup, but not gonna be enough. Chopman can back and teleport in. Meanwhile, Scotch has made his way up here for the counter gank.
Yeah, the level 2, he just did both of his buffs and ran straight top lane. They clearly aware of this mismatch going on up here, and look to kind of alleviate some of that pressure super early in the game. Not a bad call at all, as he
but now
like chunks him out.
Going for an invade here. He's putting a lot of damage out in the Scotch now. The solos are too far away. First blood on Devout Milk, and now we see the solos collapsing in this jungle. I directed camera, doesn't really want to show us much here, but now on Devout Milk versus Dario Chopman at the red buff, 2017 in the Thunderdome. Devout Milk gets an Orianna shield and Sinister Beyblade picking up the counter kill, gives himself a double buff and forces the flash out of Renai.
I just don't know what happened there. Maybe after Milk got the kill, should have gotten out, but he should have had more teammates.
Yeah, I was just strange shot calling. I don't know if he thought his solos were going to make it there fast enough, but obviously Chopman was going to be teleporting into the top lane and throws away what was a decent play in the top lane to force an early TP. Also putting a red buff over to Chopman and a double buff over to Beyblade, so this could be bad. As Hook resets maybe under a lot of pressure here. No follow-up on Gable Neal's knockup, though.
Yeah, red buff on not it. It's almost like the pressure that he alleviated just got put back on now that he teleported back in with the red buff. But right back to getting pressured in the top lane.
Yeah, Wind is going to have to be careful not to have this lane too pushed at any points, because if he gets caught out too deep, he is going to die to that red buff slow. But now we see in the mid lane, Beyblade getting knocked up, Milk all over this map. He's going for a play. He's going to flash out of his own prism there.
Is Milk cleared? I think he's cleared 3 camps and the enemy's red buff. He is really going for a gank heavy style here in the early game. That's why people love Devout Milk. He does give up some of his own farm to try to get his team ahead.
Yeah, and I would say it's been very, very well done so far. He's not even behind Scotchnaut. Scotchnaut hasn't been getting anything going on the other ends. Milk up 400 gold, you know, all from that kill mainly. So it's not like he's being punished for this. And this is what you pick Jarvan for. This is what triggers me about seeing so many SBL Jarvans is you pick Jarvan for this crazy early pressure. And we know a lot of SBL players that don't know how to put that kind of pressure down. So props to the boy Milk.
Well, bot lane's not going terribly for Condemn resets and Gabe O'Neill here. Their tower has taken a little bit of damage. They've lost 5 CS, but if they keep it on at this pace, it's really not so bad compared to what they could have lost in this lane.
Yeah, Mighty Wolf is only a few CS away from his BF sword gold amount, so we might see a back in the next wave or two here out of these guys. Start trying to play around their first back power spikes a bit. And then maybe that'll escalate this laning phase.
They're really trying to shove to this tower. And they're gonna be able to do so until the playground pals give any help to the bot lane.
Yeah, and both the solo laners I think wanted to snowball in their solo lane, so I assume that help is gonna have to come from Scotch, who is in the neighborhood right now. Showing up in his team's Tri-Bush, but looking like he's just channeling a recall out.
Yeah,
But
I don't...
Now, watch out. Vigar coming up to this top lane. Coming up river. Looks like he was pinged out there.
Is he on a ward right now?
Yes.
He is.
Was, so.
Yeah, that's a little unfortunate. They might have been able to get something out of that. Wind looked like he's taking an aggressive trade here.
Wolf gonna actually take a tower hit there, his first bad trade of the game. But yeah, we're looking like a lot of these lanes going for first real backs here. We do have Infernal Drake on the map, so we could see these teams start playing around that sooner than later.
Yeah, early dragon's like that's one of the only ones that has super early priority. So wouldn't be surprised to see a concerted effort by both teams to get that.
Yeah, and I know we had just mentioned a few minutes ago here that the bot lane wasn't going super awfully, but that has since changed. We're now looking at
it's getting a little worse.
CS lead for the
Oh no.
And I think this is only going to go worse if he gets a back in. But Scotchnut is showing up. He's being pinged out a little late here, though. Hook resets is pretty low, but Devout Milk is on his way for the counter gank.
This is not good for the playground pals, actually.
Because here comes Devout Milk.
Jarvan.
He knocked up mid-jump, but he's going for a flash auto. Gabe flashing out. Devout Milk is not level 6, but Mighty Wolf does not give a damn. Jumping forward, laying down the autos, but everyone's going to walk out alive on this one.
Flash is still up. I think there's a little bit of staring at each other, seeing who's going to flash there. Great job by Devout Milk coming in for the counter gank. And good job by the NANI bot lane to kind of recognize it and play around it. Now, like you said, that 20 CS lead is just going to grow and become a huge problem for this bot lane.
Yeah, Wolf tried to make it a problem for Scotchnut too. There's a combined 7 summoners blown in that bot lane fight. As we see, the Mighty Wolf is sitting on 2,300 gold right now. I personally think he should have recalled by now. I think he can snowball harder with items than the Xayah Janna lane will.
Yeah, I mean, as long as they got pressure, it's not terrible. But with the CS lead, possibly getting an item advantage could be good to back.
because once they spend, they're one big trade away from turning that into a dragon play or a turret play. Although they seem pretty content to just take this turret without backing, and they are very on pace to this turret down to only maybe 400 or 500 health, and falling fast. And Gabe and Condemned have to be pretty cautious here. And yeah, this turret's gonna, I think, go down here as creep wave's bouncing. And yeah, first brick before a back, essentially out of 2v2 play.
Yeah, that's the power of Zyra's push. They just took a super pushing lane, super pushing poke lane, and just stayed in lane. Not alleviating any pressure by backing. Now they have an even bigger back, and they can snowball even harder.
And it's like we said earlier, it's a super easy lane to execute. What did they do that was tough to pull off in this laning phase? Nothing. As we see Dario Chopman coming in dark man form. I don't know what the hell Kane does.
That's his name's Rost. His name's Rost now. Still call him Kane though. He now does like knockups and stuff. He's gone the utility form because you don't go the assassin form at all. And he should be a little bit more of a force now that he's changed form.
And that's his ultimate?
That's his passive.
At level... Okay, he can do that whenever?
Once he stacks up, like once he hits champions enough, he's able to transform into one of two champions that are both Kane but different.
Gotcha. That's too edgy for me. But fortunately, what's not too edgy for me is this Infernal Drake gonna go over for free to Team Ryuga Wagateki no Kurao. They're gonna transfer over to the mid lane after. And
using this pressure.
Yeah, there is a Rift Herald being taken by Scotch though, and it looks like Team NANI want to go over and contest this. Oh, this could be dangerous, but they're turning for Beyblade instead. Beyblade is a long way from home, flashing defensively, and should be able to make it out of this one actually. So it's gonna be Rift Herald. Oh no, Rift Herald was stopped. Scotch going back before it completely resets though, dropping the smite. On the wind going in to try to get a steal, but not going to find it. Now on the wind, buying time for his teammates to get in. They may have taken the Rift Herald, but I don't know if they're going to be able to pick it up. 2 kills down. Gosh, got Rift Herald in the middle of that, though.
Yeah, not worth it all. They, honestly, they're so far behind on the map right now, that I don't know if there's really going to be a great use of that Rift Herald, even though they picked it up. Although it is kind of a little solace for them.
They're going to lose a lot of pressure in both their solo lanes here, as Tristana solo pushing in the top lane and 4 members were pushing in this mid lane, at least until On the Wind left. So neither tower going to fall, fortunately for the Playground Pals, staying in this game just a bit longer. Man, this has been a very clean start by NANI.
Yeah, whenever you see not a very big kill lead, but a nice like 2k gold lead, shows a really great understanding of macro and lane presence. Really good performance so far.
Yeah, 2k gold lead, and they've also got the Infernal Drake. And, they've got quite a few champs on their team that are going to scale well, too, as Gabe O'Neal running for his life, but he's going to get hit by the knockup. Oh, the young Gabe going down to the Ignite.
He is caught.
On this top lane, Dario Chopman going low on health. Ignite being dropped on him as well, and he's going to go down to the Mighty Wolf.
Yeah, this could easily turn into a slaughter here in the next few minutes if they play it right.
Yeah, this is going to be top tower, and probably some damage on mid tower not too long after.
On the Wind is taking their blue buff. Oh, something has gone wrong.
So, if you're playing on Kylie's Playground Pals, what is your plan right now?
I mean, you've seen my team play. You think I have a plan when things go wrong?
Alright, so don't worry, Kylie's Playground Pals, if you're listening. You can hit that surrender button in 6 short minutes.
Well, if it's never mind. It's unanimous. They can do it at 15.
Oh God, this game has gotten so casual since I've been gone.
Yeah, they've really catered towards the tilters recently.
That's legit. They're all League has left, so know your audience. So we've got on the wind teleporting up in this top lane to immediately be knocked up, and there comes the Rift Herald. Gonna chunk out that tower, but not come close to taking it.
No, that tower is still over half health. They probably just had to use it the best they could. Really, what they can do is hope that NANI gets a little over aggressive. They do have some tools like Janna, like Xayah, and the Vigar box to kind of like make a play if the other team gets too aggressive. But if they play it slow and don't try to get too ahead of them, just like this.
Maybe in a bad place here. He's gonna flag up. Still goes down with the Vigar ult. You can't
Just
handle
like
those
that.
point-click skills.
Vigar is he got caught in the box and he was done.
Yeah, that did not go according to Kikaku for Mr. Cal. Maybe next time.
They buy, without Zyra, they buy maybe 30 seconds of reprieve from, the NANI's turret taking ability. It's every second is valuable at this point.
Yeah, and we do see Kane. He's kind of playing pretty close to On the Wind's turret in that top lane, so maybe getting some pressure down as Gabe is going to be pretty low after that E pops. But ultimately, the siege continues as a big wave is crashing in the bot lane for NANI. Maybe this is the rotation they're waiting for to really commit to this push.
Yeah, whoever set up that wave in bot lane, whether it was a mistake from the Playground Pals or a good play by NANI, really could help them get this mid turret.
Yeah, because with Xayah in the bot lane, Janna going to be in base here.
Yep, Zyra is back up.
Beyblade playing around his threats very well to keep the other team pushed off as we maybe see a fight here at the red buff. Shotman versus On the Wind. I don't know how this is going to play out. But Shotman's running, which is not what I expected to see here. Is On the Wind doesn't seem like he has to play with any respect here. Beyblade gone for the rotation, put him in the stun circle, forcing a flash out of Wind.
It was all a ploy to get the mid turret. Oh!
Ooh, what? No, I'm not hip with the League kids anymore, but I think you're supposed to pop a question mark ping after that. As the red turret going down, and Devout Melker and Onwin are way deep in no man's land.
Half the team's in, other half's out, but they still get 2 kills. Did they just 2v4 or 5?
Yeah, and it's going to set them up for a tier 2 mid turret push here with Tristana. That turret's going to go down faster than all hell. As Shotman going for the knockup. He is going all in on the Mighty Wolf, but he is jumping back out. Milk in the backline. Maybe went a little too deep there. And now this could be a push for the Playground Pals. Dario Shotman pushing forward. He gets the kill on the Wind. And a mistake out of Devout Milk turns an easy siege into a recall for his team.
Yeah, Xayah. Ooh.
Ooh, Shotman, maybe not done here. He's flashing forward. He's got red buff, but he's got to get into auto range. They're looking
the
for the plan
teleport.
of the Mighty Wolf, but Mighty Wolf putting out so much damage. There's going to be a trade as Vigar gets the kill. And now for the first time, we're going to see the Playground Pals finally mounting a push. But
a little
in the
over
bot
aggressive.
lane, yeah, Labur was never near that fight. He is pushing out of the tier 2 bot lane, and I think he's finally just pulled Beyblade down towards him. I don't know how close he is to taking that turret. Yeah, Vlad's going to get that turret, so it's going to be a mid 1 for a bot 2 trade here. And goddamn, every time I see Milk drop that driving flag, I assume he's going to jump in. And actually, NANI are going to hold mid tier 1.
Yeah, they're so far behind that any kills that they get are just relieving the pressure from them. I don't know if they can really make a counter push at this point. It's tough to say.
Yeah, so it looks like they're going to settle for the easy objective on the map and just go for that dragon. Get their second of the game. Only a wind dragon, but better than nothing. And that's going to set them up for Infernal to be the next dragon to spawn.
Yeah, the game, they have to hold out this, by they I mean the Playground Pals have to hold out this gold lead until that Infernal. Really can't give that up. This top lane hasn't gone as planned. Wind has been able to kind of absorb any of the impact that Chopman has had. He's 20 CS up, 2-1 and 2. I know we were kind of giving him a little trouble. Oh,
ooh, Renai going for the push onto Scotch, forces the ult onto Scotch, and still walks out just for the ignite. And I don't even know what they're going to set up here. It's too early to really turn that into a serious Baron setup.
Yeah, when you're setting up for Baron before the Baron is up, you know the game has gone, well, the game's gone right for you, because you can Baron at 20 minutes. That's a huge way to end it early.
And back to the mid lane Siege's turret, only at half health, not going to survive the Mighty Wolf for very long. And there it is, mid tier 2 down, 5-0 turret lead for Team NANI.
Yeah, if they don't get any, if they don't trap some people in the box and get a good Xayah ult, there's absolutely no way. They just don't have the beefiness since Scotch was set so far behind in his own jungle. He'll just Blab just blew him up just in the last fight.
Yeah, this is really not a composition out of KPP that's built to play from very far behind. They don't really have the big playmaking abilities. But they do finally get their first turret of the game. Kane's hard work eventually had to pay off in that top lane, and it did.
Yep, he essentially that gets traded for the mid turret that Cho'Gath grouped for. So not bad at all. They get something back. If they can make good on that low mid turret, they could get some much needed gold back to kind of aid them in their struggle to hold their own. Clearly into a bit of a lull here. A lot of setup is going on. Can't quite do the Baron, can't quite push any more turrets. But they do look to set up for a pick here.
They're all gonna get scouted out. As Beyblade, geez, chunks out Renai's circulation there. I guess Beyblade's, he really does have that one-shot potential if he catches the right man.
Yeah, they're going aggressive.
But, ooh, Scotch split far away from his team, but it's looking like KPP thinks they have to fight here. Scotch going for a flash forward, Vlad flashes as well, but now Scotch is very deep, but he has taken Blaboor for his troubles. A 1-for-1 is a good trade at this point in the game for KPP. But watch out, because Devout Milk is still looking like he wants to flank here as he gets stunned out by the Beyblade. And now a flash out of Hooker sets forces a counter flash out of Beyblade.
Yeah, not bad for the Playground Pals. They see Blab get low and look to posture aggressively, seeing their opportunity to maybe get one back. Trading almost a full health Maokai for 100 health Blab. Could be a problem though, as they look to start Baron.
Yeah, I think that was just a vision check as the Mighty Wolf going in full camera right now. Milk there to follow him up. They get the kill and give him, but Wolf is flashed out. He's running like hell from this Kane. And I don't know if Kane's able to get him, but no, Gyro Trapman does, takes out the Mighty Wolf. A 1-for-2 in favor of the Playground Pals as Beyblade has now entered the arena. But I think this one's going to get disengaged.
This is what the Playground Pals want. They've kind of kept that gold lead a little steady for the last few minutes. This Vigar getting stronger as he farms up his Q, gets a few more kills. I mean, the future's not bright, but it's brighter than it was a few minutes ago. Yeah,
they're at least trading punches at this point. It's been bad shot calling for the last few minutes for Team NANI. And this is, it's so weird to say this, but this is actually a place where a lot of teams actually struggle to shot call, even up to the professional level. When you have a big enough lead this early in the game, a lot of teams just don't know what to do with it. Because it's too early to do the things you normally do with a big lead. And, that's affecting NANI right now. They haven't done anything to push their lead forward in probably 5 minutes here. And they're just giving Kylie's Playground Pals a chance to keep scaling up towards something. Like you said, still not in a good place, but now they can, we've got 50 seconds on this Infernal Drake. This, to me, is the big objective.
Yeah,
you never want to be down 0-2 on the Infernal scorecard.
Both teams setting up for it. We'll see if one team, has a change of heart as the clock ticks down. but getting some early wards on it could set up for kind of a big fight, a very impactful fight around this objective.
Yeah, and I still think that NANI is at the point where they can sell out pretty hard to do this dragon. The big thing is the Scotch shot is so squishy, so there's no easy way for Kylie's Playground Pals to walk forward into this pit, and Scotch has to be so careful here. He cannot afford to get caught up, and he has to pop the Maokai ult defensively. This could be a disaster for KPP.
They just wait for the Maokai ult to burn and start the fight.
Yeah, but Dino Chatman, he's going in deep, and he gets lit up. But the Mighty Wolf goes down too. Onluin has just entered the fight, a 2-for-2 already, as Onluin is zoning 1 versus 3, trying to get his carry forward. As Renai's circulation a bit deep, but there we go. Development with a nice knockup. They put down some big damage. Zaya putting down some damage on the flank. Scotch gets lit apart, and now it is just the Zaya alive. And Cho'Gath, he is a stupidly designed champion, and you have to run from him.
As Cho'Gath walks at them in slow motion, they have no choice but to run away. They have no damage to deal with this guy at all. On the Wind is huge.
Team NANI gonna say arigato gozaimasu for the Infernal Dragon. 2 Infernals to 0. That's a lot of free stats to go with their big lead.
Yeah, huge win for NANI there. They may finally have the tools now that Cho'Gath has his Warmogs. They can endlessly siege with that as he'll heal up after taking any sort of poke damage. They'll probably look to kind of use him to push and then maybe bait a Baron.
Yeah, the playbook pretty wide open at this point, and Gotman, I don't know if he can 1v1 the Cho'Gath anymore. Oh, does not get knocked up there, so he's gonna make it out.
Yeah, just barely on the other side of that hitbox. He might have died with the chomp.
This team's KPP, their win condition all along was going to be Shotman being able to win a 1v1. And that hasn't been the case really at any point this game.
Yeah, I think that...
Ooh, Devout Milk though, maybe a little deep on, and he goes down. Condemned resets on a killing spree now. But Gabe O'Neal, he's pushing Targo. Yoda Jana, man, what are you doing?
He was going for that 6th flank.
Oh, it's a Mighty Wolf once again going full camera, but I think it's going to cost him as he goes down to Beyblade. Now 5 kills on the Sinister one, and this is getting clowny.
And did you see how much damage he did before they just walked away? Like they, you know, you can't do that when they have tools up to get out.
On the Wind's gonna walk up, nom, takes out Scott Shot. Now we're at 3v3 on the map. And this is...
What is going on? This game was so controlled for so long. I don't know what happened. I guess each team thinks they can continue to win fights. At this rate, this Vygar is going to be such a force, and he'll be able to take anyone out of a fight later if they miss position.
Yeah, that's the really scary thing for NANI is a lot of games when the Tristana gets big and ahead, it's so tough to come back because you're never going to catch Tristana. But Vygar can legitimately 100-0 that Tristana, who still does not have any magic resist builds.
Well, maybe he's thinking if he gets caught, he's just dead anyway. I don't know.
It's hard to say. Vygar is one of the burstiest champs in the game, and Sinister is huge. As once again, Wolf does not care about anything but getting kills, forcing the flash out of Gabe O'Neal.
I think they've made the read a little bit on Gabe, seeing that he's been out of position warding a few times. They're looking to kind of capitalize on it. Even when they don't have much vision in the enemy jungle, they know he may be alone.
Now, this could be a bit of an awkward turn trade as they're going for tier 1s, but it's their inhibitor in the top lane that they have to be worried about. But it's a Mighty Wolf once again gets hit up by the Vygar and friends. And that was huge. Wolf getting caught out there just made this a huge win for KPP, taking both tier 1s. As Devout Malk being forced to flash defensively, and he's being chased by Scotch out here, but he's faster than that Maokai ult. As Kane is still pushing in this bot lane. they're kind of forcing Nani to make a play here, and Nani's just posturing around. They don't want to blow the TP because it'll be awful for their Baron pressure. And now they've given up 3 turrets on this extended play.
Yeah, this is maybe not the greatest macro from Nani. They're looking for picks when they may be.
Gabe.
That's not even close.
Somebody's got to tell that man about dude potential. Can't push in a fog of war when there's dude potential.
Yeah, he's been not worried about dude potential this whole game.
And sometimes when you don't worry about DP, you get DP'd. But Scotch, once again, maybe getting DP'd by Renai and Devout Milk. Oh, that is...
It's all good. They didn't get caught in the box. No one died.
The tough thing here is you kind of just have, like, instincts about how fast certain champs are going to go down at certain points in the game. But when a Maokai's 1-7-2 at 30 minutes, he just, as a caster, like, he gets lit apart so much faster than you're ready to react to. And that's Scotch this game. He is sitting on a Randuin's Omen and a Cinderhulk Blade.
Yeah, he's got a lot of armor and not a great amount of magic resist at this point. And you have Orianna and just as strong as Zyra.
Ooh, but
he's gonna get blown up.
Yeah, and with Scotch in base, they go for the Baron plate. There was no sight of that by KPP.
Yeah, clearly they must have thought they couldn't have done that at 20 minutes into the game or even 25, so they sit around, they joke around a little bit for a good 5-10 minutes, and then they come up with the Baron play. Now they should be able to end this game, right?
Yeah, by the way, we would think, but by the way, there is 30 seconds on this Dragon respawn. It is going to be a 3rd Infernal, pretty much a death sentence if Team Nani can get this one. But if they lose this fight, they would also lose a lot of their Baron buffs. So this should be the game-defining fight coming up.
Yeah, I don't see the Playground Pals really having a good shot at this one. But they kind of have to fight for it. They don't have much of a choice.
Yeah, we've got Mad Cow looking like he wants to make a play, but oh my god, this Dragon going down so fast. And they were just zoned out of that one. That is now a 3 Infernal lead for Team Nani. And with Baron buff still active for almost 3 minutes.
Yeah, it was superior vision control. They didn't even have the option to challenge. They would have been suiciding to do so.
Yeah, and they had a window to work with there. If they had been planning ahead, they could have gotten in there and established vision beforehand after the Baron was taken, while everyone was in base. They just weren't playing the game far enough in advance, and they ended up not even getting a chance to try to contest there.
We see 4 pushing right now on the bottom side. On the Wind's teleport is not up for another 15 seconds or so. So briefly it is going to be 5v4. Ooh, Kane gets poked out a little.
Yeah, Hopri says he's dealing a lot of damage at this point. He's hit that point about Zyra support that everyone hates, where she's an extra mage.
Yeah. Zyra support, one of the scariest champions in this game right now. If you get caught alone as any one of the carries on the Playground Pals, you probably either die or have to back.
Yeah, On the Wind still establishing this push, so it looks like they're very committed to this 1-4 play. As Shockwave going to get blown by Renai, and now he's flashing in from Scotchback, going for the CC chain. Renai circulation down as he whips everything in his kit there. Dire Champion going forward, but no damage put on the Mighty Wolf. A 1-for-1 so far, as Kane barely makes it out alive at this one. As we see a push forward, Milk gets the kill onto Kane with no health of his own remaining. Gable looking for the auto kill, but does not quite find it.
So close. That's so disheartening on Jano when your auto attack does maybe 40 damage. Ooh.
Ooh, but Mighty Wolf gets lit out there, and now he's jumping into tower range. He has his summoners available, but he's playing pretty aggressively here. Forces the flash out of Cape O'Neal, and now I think finally this inhibitor tower is going to go down. Sinister Beyblade looking for the play, but that's a Cho'Gath, man.
Yeah, Cho probably, I mean, he has way more health than either Hook or the Mighty Wolf has, even though he has that tiny of a health bar, and he's just going to heal up all of it. That is definitely what Nani needed to kind of begin the closeout of this game. Once they have this broken now, sieging other lanes shouldn't be nearly as hard. Even though they've been having trouble doing that so far.
Yeah, and the fortunate thing for NANI is with 3 Infernals, that's 24 freaking percent extra AP and AD. You will accidentally win almost any team fight you engage. Like, they have misexecuted a lot of things in these last few fights, but they have so many free stats in addition to an actual massive goal.
Well, I'm pretty sure they won a fight and like Renai Circulation didn't do a thing. I think he got caught and died, and they still won the fight.
Yeah, with the ult and then died. So this is a good place to be for Team NANI.
I mean, unless they can get on, do the same thing to the Tristana that they just did to the Orianna, they could have a tough time really winning any fight. Because that's who's bringing the majority of the DPS.
We see Mad Cow pushing that bot lane super creep wave as far out as he can just to buy his team time for what could end up being the final fight near their base.
Yeah, he definitely didn't do a bad job there. He bought enough time to maybe try for a fight. As long as NANI expresses a little bit of patience, that wave will eventually crash, but it'll be a little while yet.
Yeah, but Scotch walking into Fog of War, getting knocked up, being lit apart. Vygar coming to the aid of his buddy, though. As Scotch actually gets out of the backline, he's on to Mighty Wolf. But there's actually some decent damage going down.
Mighty Wolf's out.
Pushing forward here, but the Mighty Wolf has made it back. He's almost back to full health. He has lifesteal, and they came close, but not close enough to getting the pick. That is going to be 4 men dead just for Renai Circulation's life in what should be the GG here. As
yeah,
Super Creeps have made it into the base.
I don't see how this one doesn't end. They almost caught Wolf there. They chain CC'd him for a little while, but once that wore off, he was able to W out, and this one is pretty much over. Just the formality of knocking down the last couple turrets. Oh.
Yeah, they're going to make sure to go for
finally destroying that frustrating Vygar. That was kind of ruining the day for them. A little cathartic moment as they look to take down the Nexus here and start off 2-0.
Ome wa mo shinderu.
Something like that, yeah.
So a well-earned GG coming out of Team NANI. And I don't even know who I want to hear from after that game.
I know who I want to hear from. Definitely On the Wind. If you're down for that,
I'm down for that. I think him not only surviving top lane but thriving in top lane that game was a big factor. So we'll see if we can get the old vet up here.
User joined your channel.
And there we go. That didn't take long. Welcome On the Wins. Congrats on a big win.
Thank you.
I want to start from the beginning here. When you guys were like, we're going to let Mad Cow have his pick of everything in his kit and counter pick, did you really think that was going to be a good idea?
I was basically like going into this game, or like, all right, Mad Cow is going to be the best top laner this season. All I really care about doing is surviving lane, and nothing else matters. Like, as long as I can get a matchup where I can just sit here and farm and Milk doesn't have to visit, he can like focus attention elsewhere on the map, and they can be the ones that carry. The game ended up being a little different than that, but everything went mostly as planned.
Yeah, that looked it looked pretty good once you were able to get, your starting items in the lane. Was that something you were kind of focused on, kind of giving up some farm early on to kind of alleviate some of the pressure he was able to put onto you?
Yeah, I tried to play pretty passive early on. Like, I think if you watched, I was down 10 or 15 CS. And then once I got like my first big armor buy, like Ninja Tabai plus Glacial Shroud, like he couldn't actually hurt me anymore. And then I just started winning all of those fights just based on the sustain from passive.
Yeah, another one. So far, you've played. I don't think I've ever seen you play Cho'Gath before. You've kind of been known in the league as kind of an Echo one trick, maybe some Aurelia on the side. With only maybe like 1 or 2 tank picks that you've played. Adding Cho'Gath, has that been something you've been working on? Has that been difficult for you to kind of make an impact?
To be completely honest, this is the most brain dead champion I've ever played. And I've played a bit of Maokai too. No, but jokes aside, I've been trying to pick up some tanks for my team because we don't really need me on a carry. We already have Blabur and the Mighty Wolf who can do all of the carrying themselves. As long as Melk and I can just be a tanky frontline, like we'll win every single game.
Right. I got no more questions for you.
Are you guys gonna lose a game this season?
Oh man, you know the answer that you want me to give you. So
I want you to
I'll
say
oblige.
the honest answer. Do you think that your team is gonna lose a game this season?
The only way that we lose a game is if Hook resets can't attend.
All right, folks, there you hear it. The same fates that Hook Reset's Overwatch team had.
Best player SBL right there.